Hi, I've got a recipe for you. In this giant old stock pot, I'm going to make green enchilada sauce. And I'm going to use these ingredients. I have jalapenos, garlic, and tomatillos. And first thing I do is I peel those puppies. They're a little sticky and a little dirty. So I put them in, I clean them all up, buff them all up, and get them ready to put in that big old stock pot. Fill it with some water, and you're going to bring the tomatillos, about 2 pounds of tomatillos. This time I'm going to quadruple it, at least, because I'm going to can the rest of the salsa so we have it, enchilada sauce, so we have it ready to go whenever we want it, because it is my husband's favorite thing. I've actually gotten him to like Mexican food because I make it from scratch. And you can too, it's super easy. Stay tuned. What I really kind of dislike about doing this is peeling these little suckers. Taking the husk off the tomatillo. They're very sticky. Sticky is better in this case. And you just throw the husk away, put this in some water, and then wash them real good. Wash the sticky off of them if you can get it all the way off of them. But just clean them because they've got dirt and other crud on them. So that's how I do it. I just do that right before I put them in the pot to cook them for about, I boil them for about 15 minutes until they change colors. I'll show you that in a second. This is why I needed a big old stock pot, because I quadrupled the amount of tomatillos, which would be quadrupled for the basic recipe would be 4 times as many. So there's 8 pounds. You can do 2 pounds of tomatillos if you'd like to also. But while I'm doing it, I'm going to do it big. For every 2 pounds of tomatillos, you need 2 habaneros. I might do a little bit less because my husband doesn't like it super spicy, so 1 will suffice if you don't like it very spicy. I do, because I grew up in San Antonio, Texas, so I grew up eating hot peppers. You didn't know why my spoon is sitting there. It's to scoop those seeds out. Don't do it with the seeds in it. It'll burn you. And rinse your hands after you handle these kind of peppers, or any kind of pepper. Sorry for the shaky. We've got tornado weather here. And this time I'm not gonna, it's not required by my recipe, but I'm gonna roast them a little bit. I think everything's better roasted, so I'm gonna roast those for a little bit. Just a little olive oil. Get them a little brown and popping. And I'm not gonna peel them or anything else. I'm just gonna put them in with the tomatillos in this great big old stock pot. The jalapenos be a poppin'. Just let them get a little brown, little cooked before I put them in the big old stock pot with everything. This is 8 pounds of tomatillos. And I did, let's see, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. I did 6 jalapenos. I cut them in half, I seeded them. And now I'm just doing them in a little oil, just to bring out a little extra flavor. Hey, another little thing I'm going to do this time that I find works for a lot of cooking is I'm going to salt my water a little bit. Just get that extra salt into it and just let it boil. You're going to boil these tomatillos. When they get on high, they're going to boil for about 15 to 20 minutes. They're going to completely change color. You might have to flip them over a little bit to get them done on all sides. You can use a spoon, you can use anything you've got to kind of work with them and turn them around and make sure that all the tomatillos get it, not just the bottom part, get the top part too. Otherwise your sauce will be a little bit bitter. Bitter ain't good. I'm adding the jalapenos into the tomatillos to boil. They're going to boil right along with them. And again, I browned them just a little bit. 2 jalapenos for 2 pounds of tomatillos, or less if you don't like it spicy. And let it roll. Here's the color change. They kind of turn a yellowish, weird color, but that means they're done. You don't want to overdo them because you don't want them to pop and explode. I did a little red onion this time. I'm kind of ad-libbing this time, but you can use about 1/4 of a red onion, and I fried it, of course, to bring it on out. Everything's in the blender, or half of everything, because I have to do it because I made so much. I have to do it in 2 sections. I added a little chicken broth. I'm going to add about 1/4 of that per 2 pounds, and since I quadrupled it, I'm using a whole container. 4 tablespoons of garlic. Big heaps. Probably 1 is good for 2 pounds of tomatillos. I also put in a little, not chicken cubes. This is a vegan, just chicken thing I just threw in for a little bit more chickeny flavor. For your 2 pounds of tomatillos and your 2 habaneros, add 1 teaspoon of cumin, or to taste. Do it a little bit less at a time and keep tasting it. And then, you know, fresh herbs are great, but how often do you have fresh herbs and they go bad so quickly? So I started buying the cilantro in this little squeeze tube, and I love having it on hand. And this is the sauce, the green tomatillo enchilada sauce. After it's been blended, don't blend it a lot, just a little bit, pulse it. You don't want it just emulsified to nothing. So leave it a little chunky. I added a little chicken broth, kind of watched how much I put in so it didn't get runny. Then I'm going to put it in and I'm going to fry it. Put a little oil in, add your salsa. I keep saying salsa, it's enchilada sauce. Crank it up. The oil is around the edge. I've got it boiling right now. I put a little bit of oil. For this much, I put about 1/8 of a cup of oil in it, but just a couple teaspoons when you do 2 pounds of tomatillos. And then pour your enchilada sauce into that when it's warm, and you're going to kind of fry it. Watch out, don't burn yourself. The oil gets really hot, and then when you put the other on top of it, it can splatter. But this is it boiling. I've got it on about a 4 here. It's an electric stove, so it cooks pretty fast. So I'm going to turn it down a little bit, let it boil, and blend it all together. The frying of this is what makes it really good. You really need to do this. You can't skip this section. So get a big deep pot. This is a big deep saute. And then go for it. Stir it and fry it. And you can see the oil around the edge. So it's frying in the oil. I want to give a shout out to this Vitamix. If you don't have one, try to get one. Try to get one off of Craigslist, eBay, something. This thing is awesome, and I use it all the time for all sorts of different things. You want to grind up ice? It'll grind up ice, no problem. I use this to make my sauces in. And a little shout out to Macy's. I know people think Macy's might be a little expensive for things. I got such a deal through Macy's for this. I used coupons and sales and all sorts of stuff, my star rewards, and I like nice equipment. So this is one of the things I bought. And it's excellent.